sirens didn't fade. They echoed. They bounced off glass buildings and slick pavement, cut through the hum of late-night traffic, and stretched across London like something restless. Elias Vane stood at the edge of the street, watching the chase with the same quiet focus he brought into every courtroom. No panic, no urgency, just observation. The car ahead, a dark sedan, swerved hard, ignoring the red light as it shot through the intersection. A police cruiser followed close behind, tires screaming as it barely avoided a collision. "Don't push him toward the bridge," Elias said, his voice calm, measured. "He'll panic?" No one answered. The chase continued anyway. Elias frowned slightly, but kept watching. The sedan clipped the corner of another car, straightened out, then sped forward again, straight toward the bridge. "That's a mistake," Elias murmured. A second later, the car hit the barrier. The crash wasn't loud, the way movies make it seem. It was heavy, final. Metal folding in on itself, glass shattering, and then fire, fast and bright, swallowing everything before anyone could react. For a moment, everything stilled. Then the shouting started. Officers rushed forward. Someone yelled for water. Another for an ambulance that was already too late. Elias stepped closer, scanning the scene, taking it in piece by piece. The angle of impact, the damage to the front end, the speed required to cause that level of destruction. No chance of survival. "Sir?" The voice came from behind him, sharp and tense. Elias turned. The man standing there looked out of place, like he'd come from somewhere else entirely. His suit was slightly wrinkled, his tie loose, and there was something in his expression that felt volatile, like he was holding himself together by force. "You're the prosecutor," the man said. Not a question. Elias studied him for a second. "Yes." "I've seen you before," the man continued. "Court? You were on that assault case?" "Daniel Cross," Elias said after a moment. "You struck a man during a wedding reception." "He had it coming," Daniel snapped, irritation flaring instantly. Then he shook his head. "That's not why I'm here." "Then why are you here?" Daniel glanced toward the burning wreck, his jaw tightening. "Because the man in that car killed my sister." Elias followed his gaze. "There wasn't enough evidence to prove that," he said. "It wasn't cold. It was just fact." "That's because your inspector buried it," Daniel shot back. "Hale, I brought everything to him. He said it wasn't enough, but it was. I know it was." Elias didn't respond right away. Inspector Hale wasn't someone people questioned. He was reliable, careful, trusted. But Daniel didn't sound uncertain. He sounded angry, yes, but underneath that, there was conviction. Grief can... "Don't," Daniel cut in, stepping closer. "Don't do that thing where you make it sound like I imagined everything. I didn't." Elias met his eyes. There was no hesitation there, no doubt. "Then what exactly did you give Hale?" Elias asked. "Proof," Daniel said. "Enough to at least open a case, but he shut it down. And now..." He gestured toward the wreck. "Now the only person who could answer for it is gone." Elias looked back at the car. "Convenient. Too convenient. We can still build something," Elias said after a moment. "If the evidence exists, it can be recovered." Daniel let out a short laugh. "Just like that?" "Yes." Daniel studied him, like he was trying to figure out if he was serious. "You really talk like this all the time?" "I prefer clarity." "Yeah," Daniel muttered. "I noticed." They started walking without really deciding to. Away from the wreck, away from the noise, or maybe the noise just faded on its own. Elias noticed something then. the rain. It was coming down steadily, tapping against the pavement, collecting in shallow puddles, but none of it touched him. Not his coat, not his hands. He slowed. "Do you feel anything unusual?" he asked. Daniel gave him a look. "Other than the fact that my sister's killer just died before I could get answers?" "No." Elias looked down at his hands. Dry, completely dry. A flicker of something moved through his mind. Not a full memory, just a crack, like something trying to break through. Another night, another chase, the same road. But this time, he wasn't standing outside of it. He was inside the car, hands on the wheel. Heart steady, not racing, focus, certain. He remembered the file on the passenger seat, the evidence, everything he'd uncovered about Hale, what he'd hidden, what he'd ignored. Daniel's sister hadn't been a mistake. She'd been covered up. Elias had known it, and he'd been driving to prove it. The impact came next, the sound, the fire, then nothing. Elias stopped walking. "I was in that car," he said quietly. Daniel blinked. "What?" Elias looked at him. "The driver. That was me." Daniel stared at him, waiting for some kind of explanation that didn't come. "You're serious?" "Yes. That doesn't make any sense." "No," Elias agreed, "but it explains everything else." Daniel shook his head, pacing now. "So what? You're a ghost? That's what you're telling me?" Elias considered it for a moment. "I'm present," he said finally, "for now." Daniel let out a breath, rubbing his face. "This is insane." "Is it incorrect?" Elias asked. Daniel didn't answer. After a moment, he stopped pacing and looked at him again. The anger was still there, but now it had direction. "If what you're saying is true," Daniel said slowly, "then you were trying to expose Hale." "Yes. And now you can't." Elias held his gaze. "Not alone." There was a pause. Then Daniel nodded once. "Okay," he said. "Then we do it together." Elias didn't smile. He wasn't sure he could, but something settled into place all the same. "A rational approach," he said. "We identify what Hale took, where he might have stored it. Who else might know? We build a case he can't bury. A case he can't run from," Daniel added. "Exactly." They both looked back toward the scene. Across the street, Inspector Hale stood behind a line of officers, watching everything unfold. Calm, controlled, untouched by any of it. Elias focused on him. "There," he said quietly. Daniel followed his gaze, his expression hardening. "Yeah," he said. "I see him." For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Elias said, "The case isn't over." Daniel's jaw tightened. "Good," he replied, "because I'm not done either." And somewhere behind them, the last of the flames finally went out.